Hey guys, it's Joe here again from Big Sky Harley Davidson Service Department. This week to talk to you part 2 on our series on winter storage on your motorcycle. Last week you kind of covered about the importance of taking care of and maintaining your batteries. This week we're going to kind of touch on the importance of maintaining the fluids that go into your bike. First one we're going to touch on is going to be your engine oil. Engine oil, over the course of riding, it's just habit of any combustible motor, but you end up getting contaminants and everything inside the motor. So stuff from fuel, moisture brought into the air, stuff gets into your engine oil. Now with the bike sitting over a period of time, those acids and everything that have mixed in with the oil actually have a tendency to cause corrosion within some of your motor parts and can actually cause premature labor expenses that you would need to actually repair things. So one of the things that we like to recommend is to, before you store the bike, drop the oil, put fresh oil in it, make sure everything's 100% ready to go, and it's going to protect the internal components of the motor as well as all the cavities that it's stored in. The second part we're going to talk about is fuel. Now, I've heard a lot of different things working back here in the service department. You know, people have said they drain their tank, they don't do anything. One thing that we believe here at Big Sky Harley, and I personally use on both of my motorcycles, is we want to fill the fuel tank. And the reason behind that is, with the fuel being low, again, you were able to get moisture and everything inside the fuel tank. So with the fuel being low, you have all that bare metal that is actually exposed. So bare metal exposed to moisture and everything has a tendency, obviously, again, to corrode. So to be able to kind of combat that, we want to raise the fuel into the tank and get it as full as possible, just to kind of prevent anything. My years as a tech, I've seen absolutely terrible fuel tanks that have had to be sent off, or we had to spend a lot of time and labor actually cleaning them chemically, all sorts of stuff, and I mean, it's a huge pain in the butt, and it's one that could be easily avoided, again, by raising the fuel level inside the tank. One other thing that we like to do is add a fuel stabilizer. Now, whether it's Sta-Bil, Harley's Ethanol Guard, there's so many products out there. As long as you have a product in there, that's going to be awesome to use. Now, the reason behind that is today's fuel has so many detergents and ingredients and stuff that get mixed in there, we actually see fuel starting to separate and go bad a lot sooner than we have seen in the past. Now, one of the things that I've actually seen is we filled a mason jar with fuel, and you let it sit over time, and you can actually see the wax and everything start to separate from the fuel, which it actually causes components, especially on the fuel injected bikes, to end up being gummed up, and you run into idle misfire, hesitation while running, and it takes a lot to actually get those components cleaned out and get all that gunky fuel in there. Now, the benefit to having an additive to that fuel is to be able to slow that process down. It may not entirely stop it 100%, but it slows that process down to make sure that you don't have any of those, again, costly repairs, to be able to try to get your bike up and running from, again, an easy preventative piece. So fuel the tank up, fuel stabilizer, awesome. The next one we kind of talk on, and it's kind of a small market in the Harley world, but we want to talk about just checking your coolant and antifreeze. Now, one thing that just like in your car, you want to make sure and have your coolant tested for certain levels, just to make sure that it's protecting your bike if it drops down to a certain degree. Now, that includes V-Rod models, that includes the street models, and that includes all the new twin-cooled models, limited trikes, limited lows, all those. So, awesome little piece. Last but not least, again, speaking about fuel injection, we got a lot of guys that still run carburetors. Now, I've seen a lot of guys, again, that have rumors on what they want to do there. Carburetor guys, what we see that seems to work best is I've heard guys leave their carburetors full. Springtime they come in, they crack it out and drain the old fuel out of it and start it back up and work. But what I've seen myself as a mechanic is your smaller jets, like your pilot jets and some of the smaller passageways, get a little residual of fuel that sits in there and actually goes bad, causing it to plug. Then you have idle problems come springtime. We have to go in there, clean or replace jets, and I mean, it's a huge pain in the butt that could be easily prevented. One of the things that we do to do that is, on those carburetor bikes, you turn the fuel valve to the off position and you start the bike and you let it run. Now you let that bike run until it runs out of fuel. Now by doing that, it's using the vacuum from the motor to pull all that fuel out of the lines and out of the bottom of the carburetor bowl and through all those jets, and runs everything clean and dry, so then we don't have to worry about the corrosion and end up gummed up in some of those smaller passageways. So that kind of touches it for this week. If you have any questions on anything that we had discussed or anything that you might be doing, and the good, bad, whatever, give us a call here at the service department. Phone number here is 406-727-2161. Again, my name is Joe at Big Sky Harley Davidson here in Great Falls, Montana. Thanks for tuning in.